clavicle. So a lot of the buckies will have like these nice little lines showing you, you know, the dimensions, like 35 by 43. So now like eyeballing the height to the patient is going to be a little bit easier at the bucky. Okay, so this is where we first kind of experienced the bucky dance, is when we start running back and forth between the tube and the bucky. So the way we do that or stop from that from happening is that we position the patient first, go to the tube, do the center point, collimation, etc., and then come and do the bucky height last. Okay, so that's what we're going to try and do and see if this actually works. So the position for our humerus is we're going to be doing an AP and a lateral. The lateral, we're going to be doing a mediolateral, not a lateral medial. Okay, so that means the patient will be in the PA position. Okay, so first we're going to start the AP. So with the AP, the patient's back is going to be right up against the board. For those who have done the shoulder, you're going to create a external rotation of the hand. So we're just looking for AP elbow, if that makes sense, right? Because we all have done the elbow, right? So AP elbow is what we're looking at. Epicondyles are parallel with the board. Okay, so the whole humerus has to touch the board, hopefully. Okay, so we're gonna have the patient up nice and straight there. Okay, we don't want to create any foreshortening with the humerus like this or like this, right? We want it nice and straight, so we're getting everything end on. So we position the patient first, right? So now everything is nicely AP up here, everything's nicely AP here. The arm is going to come out at a 45-degree angle, which is what we're expecting. Okay, so we're done the patient. Now we're going to come back to the tube. So the things you want to think about the tube are centering points, collimation, and structures included. Okay, so as you can see here, the centering point is not mid-humerus. Okay, so we're going to make a couple of changes on the tube. So we want to be mid-humeral shaft in between the shoulder joint and the elbow joint, so somewhere around here. And we also want to be midway between lateral and medial soft tissue. So this is kind of where I'm shooting for right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to turn on the light and I'm going to move the patient accordingly. So just step over and just move your feet and just shuffle your feet. That's really important for those who haven't done the shoulder, is that when you tell the patient to move, don't keep their feet static. You want them to kind of come along with you, and when you're happy with where they are, get them to kind of create that really nice base, so like spread their feet apart a bit. Because if you get the patient to stand like this, they're just going to start swaying on you, and when you come call us and check your positioning, it's probably going to be a lot different than where you had it before. So we're okay there. If I needed to change the height, that's where I would, but at this point, I think it's pretty good, right? So this is kind of where I'm going, right? Midway between these two joints. Actually, I'm going to bring it up a bit. Midway between those two joints, and then midway between the medial and lateral borders, soft tissue borders of the arm. So now what I want to do is I want to think about long axis now, right? So long axis is the humerus, and right now our collimated light is coming this way, right? So one thing that we will want you to do is to turn the collimator box so that we align it with the humerus, as so, okay? So on your imaging plate, the humerus will run diagonally, so corner to corner, but with these really long bones, that's what we need in order to fit it in, and because of the patient positioning as well. So when we get to the tib fib, I guess in 2 or 3 weeks time, we're also gonna have that going diagonally because it's such a long bone, we need that diagonal space to get that fitted in. So now we can start thinking about our collimation, right? I don't need chest, I don't need all that lateral excessive space, empty space in the lateral aspect. So now I can start coning in laterally, side to side. So something like that, and then we can make a quick adjustment just to move over this way a bit. Okay, and then now you just want to assess that you have both joints on, right? So what you can do is you can look at the elbow crease, right? And we probably want, like an inch below the elbow crease. And we want a good inch or so up above the shoulder here, right? So use the shadow of the top of the shoulder to kind of see how much light you have there. So if you want, you can start coating down once again, okay? So just come down a little bit here. And then now last, after we've positioned the patient, we've done the tube work, you stick a marker there too, is now you check the height of the bucky, right? So just reset your collimated box so you can see the laser light, or if your room doesn't have a laser light, just the shadow there. Warn the patient that you're going to move the bucky up. I'm just going to move the board up behind you, line that up, and get the patient to lean back. And then just reset the orientation of your box there. So you go long axis to long axis. And then you can go ahead, place the rolling lead in front of the patient, go back, take your picture, right? Remember with this, as well as the shoulder, you need to suspend respirations as well, right? Because we don't want the humerus of the shoulder moving. So you're gonna just remind the patient just to hold the breath, breathe in, breathe out, hold your breath, breathe in, hold your breath, whatever you wanna say, just to help slow that breathing down or stop the breathing, and then you can expose, and remember to tell the patient to breathe afterwards, right? So we'll assume that we're done that, you can relax. We'll come back, we'll change your imaging plate, boom, boom, put it back in. And then now we're ready for the lateral view, which is going in medial lateral. So the patient positioning for this is going to be elbow bent, usually at 90 degrees, palm up towards the ceiling, and you're going to abduct the elbow like this. So this is going to be the patient positioning. This one is really easy in terms of when the patient's in the sling, this is their natural position like this. So really, this is a really easy view for you to get, okay? So you're going to instruct the patients to bend their elbow, palm up, and we're going to do this in a PA fashion so the patient's going to be facing the board. So the trick to this is that you want the patient's lateral surface up against the board, okay? So you're just going to lean them in until this whole part of the arm is touching the board, okay? And then we want to make sure that you've abducted the elbow enough so that the elbow isn't tucked in, so it's not going to be superimposed over all the ribs, the abdomen, things like that. So you lean them in, abduct the arm like this, so we get a really nice view of the humerus, so, okay? So we're going to get you to, so is your palm up there? Perfect. So we're just going to turn the patient until their lateral surface touches the board, okay? Then we know that there's no distortion of the humerus, right? It's not angled or anything like that. It's all in contact there, and we've made sure that we've abducted the elbow so that it's not superimposing the rib cage anymore, okay? So this is the patient positioning, part one. Part two now is going back to the tube, right? So turning on your light will kind of prompt you in terms of what you need to do, right? So once again, the center point's exactly the same. We need to be midway between shoulder and elbow joint and midway between medial and lateral borders, or in this case, anterior posterior soft tissue borders. So when I'm looking here, I know I need to drop the tube down and I need to move her forward a bit. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. So we're going to shuffle forward just ever so slightly, great. So this is kind of what I'm looking for, if you can see here. So elbow joint, shoulder joint, midway point here, and then between the anterior and posterior soft tissue, that's where I want to be. Okay, so this is where I want to be. And then the same as the AP, now all you have to do then now is turn your box. So, like that. Okay, so I've turned the box, long axis to long axis, putting your finger here, making sure I have that humerus on there, right? Have a nice healthy amount up there. Making sure I have the bottom here, so this is the olecranon, right? So I know that I'm past the condyles, which are going to sit about right here. So I haven't clipped any of the soft tissue, right? I definitely have past the elbow joint here. And now I can start thinking about collimation, right? Because I do have a lot of light on their back and a lot of excessive light on the outside here. So now this is the right knob, perfect, and I can start coning in like this. And then remember, you're going to pronate your marker, right? So slap it on pronated because the patient is PA. Place it up here. And whenever we're talking about rotating the collimator box, remember our markers are always aligned long axis to the imaging plate. So I'm just going to grab a quick marker just to illustrate what I mean. So it doesn't have a side on it, but I just want to alliterate the orientation. So right now, the imaging plate is running straight across, right, in the bucky trace. So the top of your marker should be aligned with the top of the imaging plate. It's going to be really tempting to turn your marker like this so it matches your collimated light, but this is technically wrong because your marker should always align with the borders of your imaging plate. So we're actually just going to leave it like this, with the exception of just pronating it as so, just up in the corner there, okay? And then once again, when we're ready to go, just go back, give the breathing instructions, expose, tell the patient to relax and breathe again, okay? So just want to make sure we have both joints on and all the soft tissue anterior posterior. And this is your lateral shoulder. Okay, relax. Perfect. Good, thank you. Good, so that is the humerus.